Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, we are going Wobbuffet hunting in the Willpower Cup with Metang. If you guys have played some sets of Willpower Cup, I'm sure you know Charmers, and more specifically Wobbuffet, are absolutely everywhere. I was getting a little frustrated by it, so I decided to bring out Metang to try and hard counter him, and honestly, had some really nice sets with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and go charm hunting in the Willpower Cup with Metang. Hopping into the first match, sitting Pawniard into the mirror. I am double weak to Pawniard in the back, so I am definitely going to be staying in this lead and playing it out. I build it to the Iron Head, bait with the Night Slash of the CMP tie. Night Slash is able to land, and I tank whatever they throw here, so I am going to let that through. They do full send the Iron Head, but the nice thing is, since I win CMP in this matchup, I'm going to be able to reach my Iron Head, and if they let this through, it is going to be enough to KO. Iron Head does take out their Pawniard, and I'm able to win the lead. That is massive. In the back, they have Galarian Rapidash. They're going to switch out into Mandibuzz, and I respond with Drapion. And Metang is about to absolutely crush this Galarian Rapidash. They go for the Aerial Ace. That is perfectly fine. I'm just going to keep firing off Sludge Bomb after Sludge Bomb in this matchup. First Sludge Bomb is able to land. Now these Air Slashes will definitely add up, but an Aerial Ace is still not enough to KO from here. So I am going to let that through. That does get me very low, but I'm going to be able to reach Sludge Bomb number 2. This is going to be getting the Mandibuzz into the red health. I continue to farm, and I'm able to reach a third Sludge Bomb. Let's go. I'm hoping they let it go, and they do, and it's Metang time. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Great lead in the next match, Pawniard into Alolan Grimer. I do resist all of Alolan Grimer's charge moves, so I'm in a fantastic position here. They're staying in, so I'm just going straight for the Iron Head. I want to punish them if they let it through, and they do. That's big. I continue to farm. I tank any one move here, so I am going to let this go. Opponent fires off the Sludge Bomb, and they're going to save switch into a Hakamo. Now, Hakamo was very common in the Fighting Cup. Honestly, haven't seen much of it in Willpower. I fire off the Iron Head, and now it is Metang time. Metang is going to be resisting the Dragon Tails, meaning that they're forced to go for Brick Breaks if they want to do any meaningful damage. They're going to fire off Brick Break number 2, and that is perfectly fine by me. I'm going to let that go, and then I can overfarm quite a bit before I go for the Psyshock. This Psyshock will easily KO if they let it through. My opponent trying to make a play for switch advantage here, but I am not going to let that happen. I'm going to commit the shield, and then I should be able to farm down. So I shield up the Brick Break, they bring back in the Grimer, and I'm going to fire off the Psyshock just before they're able to get to the crunch. This Psyshock is resisted, but it will KO. What is that final Pokemon? And it's another Galarian Rapidash. Let's go. These Metal Claws are absolutely shredding through the Rapidash. I'm going to fire off a Psyshock here. Psyshock is probably going to be getting the shield just because my opponent has to fear the Gyro Ball. I continue to farm. I go for a catch onto Drapion, but they're able to hold on to their energy, and now they can hit me with the Play Rough. That deals a ton of damage. I go for the crunch, but their switch timer has come up, and they make a beautiful catch back onto the Hakamo. Very nicely done. In comes the Rapidash. Rapidash is going to fire off a Body Slam since these Poison Stings are adding up quite a bit. I have energy on Pawniard. Pawniard is going to be able to reach the Night Slash. This will be taking care of the Rapidash and securing the win. Hopping into the next match, and our target has been acquired, Pawniard into Wobbuffet. You love to see it. These charms do add up quite a bit, but thankfully this entire team does very well against Wobbuffet. I fire off the Night Slash, and I get the boost. Opponent goes for a catch onto Umbreon, but I'm able to hold on to my energy and go for the boosted Iron Head. Iron Head is able to land. I go for a catch onto Drapion, but my opponent sees it coming, and they're able to hold on to their energy. They're going to be firing off Last Resorts in this matchup. It does hit for neutral damage, but it's not the strongest move ever coming from an Umbreon, so I am going to be able to live 2 Last Resorts. Sludge Bomb is going to put them into farm down range, and that is fantastic, because if I win switch advantage, I get to align the Wobbuffet onto my Metang, and Metang absolutely destroys it. My opponent sends back in the Wobbuffet, and I'm going for the crunch. Crunch does get them very low. At this point, I'm honestly not going to throw any more charge moves because I want this Metang to crush the Wobbuffet. In the back, they have Mandibuzz, and Pawniard is going to be able to take care of this. I go for the Iron Head. Iron Head is able to land, and from here, I can pretty safely start going for Night Slash baits. My opponent has 2 shields, and their only Pokemon that has a decent amount of health left is the Mandibuzz. So I'm going to build up to the Iron Head and go for the Night Slash. Night Slash gets the shield, and Pawniard boosts again. Oh my goodness, 2 boosts in 1 match. What are the odds? I shield up the foul play. I continue to farm. I'm going for yet another Night Slash onto the Mandibuzz. Night Slash gets the final shield and a 3rd boost. You have got to be kidding me. Pawniard gets Mandibuzz low. They bring in the Wobbuffet to try and snipe, but I'm able to make a catch onto Metang. They go for the return. That just does absolutely no damage. They get farmed down. Back in comes the Mandibuzz, and Metang is going to be able to take out the Mandibuzz, and that is a good game. Picking up a great lead in the next match, Pawniard into another Alolan Grimer. And like last time, this opponent is staying in, which is fantastic news for me. I'm going to be firing off the Iron Head. Iron Head will do a ton of damage when it lands. They're going to continue to farm up, and they're going to fire off a charge move just before I'm able to get to my Night Slash. This Crunch will do some solid damage. I'm going to farm up and then fire off the Night Slash on the CMP tie to their second Crunch. This Night Slash does get the shield, so my opponent is really trying to get rid of the Pawniard, and I am not going to let that happen. So I'm going to commit a shield myself. Unfortunately, they are able to lower my defense, and they're going to send in an Umbreon. Now here, there was a little bit of a frame drop, so by my count, they were only on 3, but unfortunately, they were already on 4, so I'm forced to burn a shield. Bit unfortunate there, but I'm going to be firing off another Iron Head. This is going to get them pretty close to half health, and I'm going to farm up and then fire off Iron Head number 2 on the CMP tie. That is massive. This prevents them from being able to farm down, and now this Umbreon is in a very manageable range for either one of my Pokemon. I send in Metang, they have a Hypno in the back, I farm up, switch, and catch the Shadow Ball onto my Drapion. Let's go. That is going to be resisted, and the nice thing is, if they're running Shadow Ball, then they're probably not running something like Focus Blast, and if it's just an Elemental Punch, then my Drapion is still healthy enough where it's going to be able to survive it. So I farm up, and I fire off the Crunch, and it's a CMP tie. This Crunch is going to do a ton of damage, nearly taking out the Hypno, but Hypno is able to hang on, and their second move does end up being an Elemental Punch. They are running Ice Punch. I continue to farm. They send in Umbreon. I'm going to farm up to the back-to-back Crunches. And at this point, I'm in a great spot to finish off this game. Crunch is going to KO. I send in Metang. Metang has the Gyro Ball loaded. Gyro Ball, after a little bit of lag, will be taking care of the Hypno. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, picking up a pretty nice lead, Pawniard into Alolan Raichu. Very happy to catch the Raichu on the lead because it absolutely destroys Metang in the back. They're staying in, so I'm going straight for the Night Slash right off the bat. Night Slash is able to get the shield. Raichu does have enough energy for a Wild Charge. I decide to let it go. It is just a Thunder Punch, and I'm able to survive it. I farm up. I go for another Night Slash, but my opponent makes a very nice catch, catching the Night Slash onto Skuntank. I'm going to bank a Night Slash and then bring in Drapion. So far, they're double strong against Metang, but I'm hopeful that if I can get rid of these first 2 Pokemon, then the third is going to be weak in the back. I fire off the Crunch, and I'm just going to continue to farm. They have a lot of energy here. I do decide to commit the shield. I get baited with a Crunch. Thankfully, no debuff, but I lose CMP on the next move. You hate to see it. They go for the Sludge Bomb. That does a solid chunk of damage, and I'm going to be firing off the Crunch. I decide to undercharge it to try and go for a farm down, but they end up saving the Skuntank for later and aggressively switching in the Raichu. That is quite unfortunate. Thunder Punch is going to take me out. I have the Night Slash banked, so Pawniard is going to be able to grab this final shield or take them out. They let the Raichu go. That's big, and they are going to be fully waiting their timer here because they are still not up yet. And in the back, it's a third Metang counter. They have Drapion, and this is not good. At this point, I just need any damage that I can get onto this Drapion. So I'm going to be going for the resisted Psyshock. It is resisted, but any damage will help in this situation. I go for the Psyshock. I'm able to grab a shield. Drapion continues to farm. I go for the Psyshock, but my opponent makes a game-winning catch, catching the Psyshock onto Skuntank. And at this point, I no longer have a win con. They just have too much energy. They're able to take out Metang. Pawniard falls short of a move, and we lose a heartbreaking game. Great lead in the next match. Pawniard into Shadow Tyranitar. Opponent save switches into Overquill. There is a little bit of lag, but I believe this is only enough for an Aqua Tail. To be fair, 2 Aqua Tails will basically KO a Pawniard. I'm going to farm up and then go for the Iron Head. Trying to land this damage. Opponent lets it through, and now I'm going to bring in Drapion and go for an incredibly aggressive farm down. They do have a lot of energy here, and they full send the Ice Beam. I shouldn't be in Aqua Tail range quite yet, but this is going to be very close. They go for the Aqua Tail. That does get me low. Drapion going for the farm down, and I'm barely able to get it. That's massive. They bring in Tyranitar. At this point, they know I don't have Aqua Tail, so they can safely no shield. In comes Metang, and look at these Metal Claws shred, taking out the Tyranitar. In the back, they have Mandibuzz, and this game should be over. I'm going to fire off the Gyro Ball to get some chip damage. Opponent lets it through, and they concede the match. Nice lead in the next match, Pawniard into Mandibuzz, and as you can kind of see, unless your opponent is leading a counter user, Pawniard will basically win most any lead in this cup. It is just absurdly strong. I'm going for the Iron Head right off the bat, and they're going to let that through. They are going to be able to reach a charge move here, but everything they throw is resisted, so I'm not too worried about it. They go for the foul play. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to go for the Iron Head, and if they let this through, I'm going to try and make a catch onto my Drapion. Iron Head is able to land, and I'm able to make a catch onto Drapion. The fact that they're staying in tells me they're probably weak to Pawniard in the back, and if that's the case, I want to try and preserve Pawniard for later in the match. They send in Hisuian Quillfish, and I'm very happy to see this here, so that way, my Metang is not going to have to face it. They have farmed up a ton of energy on the Quillfish. Quillfish goes for the Aqua Tail. I'm able to tank it, and I'm able to reach the crunch. This is quite nice. This is going to be getting that Quillfish deep into the red. Quillfish continues to farm. May have been able to go for a farm down, but they decide against it, firing off an Aqua Tail at the last second. I can bring in Pawniard here, and Pawniard should be in a pretty decent spot to try and commit to a farm down. They go for the Aqua Tail. Pawniard going for the farm down. Opponent does not want to let that happen, and they aggressively switch into their Alolan Muck. So they are triple strong against my Metang, which is not great. I go for the Iron Head, and this looks like a CMP tie. This would be a massive CMP tie if it is, and it is a CMP tie. Let's go. Their remaining Pokemon don't have a lot of energy, so all I have to do is shield once, commit to the farm down with Metang, and this game should basically be over. I commit the shield, it's the Dark Pulse, opponent continues to farm, and they concede the match. Hopping into the final match, leading Pawniard into Shadow Skuntank. A pretty nice lead, but you do have to be careful of a potential Flamethrower. I'm going to farm up quite a bit of energy here and full send the Iron Head. This will do a ton of damage if it lands. Opponent is going to commit the shield. They do have enough for the Flamethrower here, so I am going to respect it with a shield. Opponent does bait me with a crunch. That is quite unfortunate. They bring in Mandibuzz, and that works out quite nicely for me. I'm going to fire off the Iron Head. Iron Head will do a lot of damage, and then look to make a catch onto my Drapion. Unfortunately, not quite able to make the catch, but either way, I save energy on Pawniard, and now the Mandibuzz is in a very manageable health range for my Drapion to take care of. I'm going to fire off the Sludge Bomb. This will do a lot of damage, getting that Mandibuzz into the red. Mandibuzz is going to be able to reach another Aerial Ace, but this is not enough to KO. So I'm able to tank that no problem, and then I can overfarm slightly, and then go for the crunch. This crunch is going to be fatal. I'm very low on HP, but I'm hopeful I'm going to be able to reach another move. They send in the Skuntank, but I'm not able to get my crunch. Back in comes Pawniard, and I'm going for the Night Slash bait, hoping for the shield, and I get it. That's big. Pawniard continues to farm. Skuntank probably just going to go straight crunch at this point, but honestly, I need to shield anyway. I go for the Iron Head, but they make a nice catch onto Sableye. This is not great because they are very strong against Metang. The nice thing is that Pawniard is going to be able to outpace and reach the Night Slash. This Night Slash will get them very low. Aggressive switch into Metang, and I'm able to snipe the Sableye. Back in comes the Skuntank. Crunch is definitely going to hurt here, but Crunch is not enough to KO. Metang would be able to reach the Psyshock, so the opponent concedes the match. All in all, I had a ton of fun running Metang. This is definitely a Pokemon more for fun than for climbing, but I was seeing quite a lot of Fairy types and Wobbuffets, so being able to absolutely hard wall them with a Pokemon as spicy as Metang made for some very fun sets. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.